A newsreel by Jonathan Osborne. Nicolae was a leader of the communist Romania from 1965 until his execution in 1980. But until then, he was a member of the PCR in the period before World War II, when Romania fell under Soviet influence. Nicolae served as secretary of the Union of Communist Youth after the communists seized power in Romania in 1947, and then served as deputy minister of the armed forces under Stalin's reign. Nicolae climbed to the second highest position. When George died, Nicolae was next in line to become the leader of the PCR, and then he became the president of the state council. He soon became a figure of popularity thanks to his independence policy and him challenging Soviets who were in Romania. In the 1960s, Nicolae put an end to the Romania participation in the Warsaw Pact alliance. Nicolae followed his belief independent policy in foreign relations. Romania was also the first of the Eastern blocs to have relations with European community. And because of that, an agreement including Romania in the community's generalized system of preferences was signed in 1974, and an agreement on industrial product was signed in 1980. However, Nicolae refused any liberal reforms, and the police maintained a firm control over any free speech and media. They also tolerated nothing. The situation got worse in the 1980s. Nicolae's strong independence from the Soviet Union combined with his protest against invasion attracted the attention of Western powers, whom governments briefly believed that he was an anti-Soviet maverick. He did not realize that the funding was not always favorable. However, Nicolae borrowed more than 13 billion from the West, which he used to finance his future ideas about the economic development programs. But these loans ultimately killed the country's finances. In an attempt to undo this, he tried to repay Romania's foreign debt. He organized a plan to manage and change the constitution, adding a clause that forbid Romania from taking foreign loans in the future. To pay back the foreign debt that had accumulated for accelerated industrialization in the previous decade, Nicolae ordered the export of much of the country's agricultural and industrial products. The result of this was shortage of food, lack of energy, and medicine. This made the everyday life in Romania a hard one. Nicolae also was involved in a North Korean-style personality cult, and also invested his wife, Elena Nicolae, and a few members of his family in a high post in the government. In 1972, Nicolae made a program of This was a way to build society the way he wanted. The program of demolition, resettlement, and construction began outside of the cities in the countryside, but eventually made its way to completely remodel the country's capital. Most of the central buildings, this including churches and historical buildings, were destroyed during Nicolae's rule to make way to rebuild the social style. Nicolae's rule collapsed after he ordered military forces and securities to fire on anti-communist demonstrators in the city of Timișoara. On December 17, 1989, the rebellion spread, and on December 22, the army fraternized with the demonstrators. Nicolae and his wife left the capital with a helicopter by forcing the pilot at gunpoint. The pilot faked a failure in the engine and landed. Nicolae and his wife were soon captured by the army.